Hello, welcome back to Ball and Board Games on Ball.
On board.
And we're bringing you a review of Oddland by Allplay.
Yes, this is one of the 4 games of Allplay that we've been playing. Here on YouTube, you would have seen we did unboxings, we did rulebook rundowns, we did playthroughs the other day. Now we're digging into reviews of each of the 4, starting here with Oddland.
Oddland. Yeah, Oddland is a game of map building and species placement. So you are trying to build out this map here, and you can, as you can see here, place cards on top of one another, covering only 2 axes at a time, trying to make long sections of different areas to try and score points with all the different species that we have here, by placing them onto the map in their corresponding areas. A lot of fun, a little bit of puzzly, fun head-to-head game.
Yeah.
Definitely be fun with a lot of players as well. All right, so for our reviews, if this is the first one that you've watched, we do cover multiple categories to get our scores. We're going to be covering the storage, the rulebook, the components, the design, and the gameplay, and all that will be averaged out to give us each an individual score. Then we'll average our individual scores to get a final Ball and Board Game score for each category and overall. And if Oddland gets at least a 3 out of 5, it will be certified as a Ball and Board Games must play. If it gets below a 3, it will be certified as a Ball and Board Games don't play. Cue the booze. No, Steve? Okay.
No.
All right.
It's not here.
Yeah, I'm talking to future Steve. He doesn't do it.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm just going to have cheers instead of...
So starting off with storage, which is this little box that we have right here, filled with minis on the bottom.
Yeah. So I'll start with my storage rating. So all of these are deluxe components. So these are all the little species that can go out as well as the flora that can go out onto the game board or the map that you get built here. That you build here.
That you get built. Get built.
So for me, I look at the gameplay or the game.
I look at the game.
I look at the game and the storage as the fact that this is a small box made to fit everything that's here. One thing to call out, all play games, at least the 4 we have, are all identically sized boxes.
Yep.
So regardless of what the pieces are inside, they all fit in the same size box.
Yep.
Which is very creative. It's very good on their part to be able to oh, we know what we need for this game. We know what size box we have. Let's make it work.
It makes it very easy to keep these games you're looking to cull them because they fit snugly on your shelf.
Exactly.
They don't fit here. They'll definitely fit somewhere else. It won't be an eyesore.
Yeah. So for me, for this storage of Oddland, I'm going to give it a 5. If you look at some of our other review videos for other games, we usually hate a box of things where there's just literally a box. But Oddland has 2 component types.
Oddly enough.
Square sheets here for the map, for the flora and the fauna, for your player aids. It's all squares. They all fit in the bottom. All of these fit right on top. Lid goes on top. Done.
Yep.
So even though these are just bouncing around a little bit, to Nick's point, you store it on a shelf. It's not really moving around. It's there. So 5.
So 5. Done. 5. Yeah. So as you know from my other reviews regarding storage, I hate things and stuff.
And
not
stuff and things.
Yeah, exactly. Like the looseness that kind of thrown in is usually very annoying, and I still can't bring myself to give this a 5. This gets a 4.5 from me because I've already had an instance because of how these have to be stored in here by on top, where I had to put the base back on one of these.
Oh, it popped off.
Yep. And it popped off because of how you have to store these in this box to keep them on there. I mean, partially also the glue probably came undone, but I can see over time that being more and more of a problem. Now, with that being said, these are easy to fix. Little slips on, little glue, fine. Not really that big of a problem, but it did happen, so I gotta knock it a bit. The regular components of these other deluxe components are just flat punch-out creatures that you would just lay flat on here, so they would obviously fit much better in here. But all these do fit in this box with all the other components, which is why I'm only docking at that half point. So 4.5 for me. He's like, get out of here.
All right, next up we have our rule book. So that will be the physical rule book itself, as well as the expansion rule book and the player aid.
Yep. So here is player aid for you. which shows on both sides here. It gives examples of scoring and what you do on your turn. Very straightforward, very easy to understand. The big and the bold little player aid here for the expansion stuff. Also very easy to understand how to incorporate the different characters. I don't think we had to really look back at this much at all. For mainly the flora, which is relatively new.
Confirm what it meant, yeah.
Exactly. And then the rule book for this is much like the other rule books. It is very small to the point. It is 6 little square pages. Squared, the same size as everything else in this game. Gives your component list like every other game. Setup right here real quick. Overview, territory, species. Boom, boom, boom. Very easy to look back to understand any kind of issues. There's tips and reminders, like a quick reference for things that are commonly forgotten. No notes whatsoever. There's no confusion with this. We learned it. We're able to jump right in and get going. I'm giving it a 5. A moment of silence for the 5.
As much as I hate to agree with Bald on anything, I also give this a 5. Yeah, to your point, like, player aid, boom, 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 tells me my 3 steps that I do on my turn. It goes through a bunch of examples in there. The expansion is fairly clear on how to incorporate the new items. There was a few things I questioned in the game, but it was mostly like me trying to understand and make sure I was doing it right, but not against the rulebook at all. So, yeah, 5.
Fingers down so you guys can see them. All right. Next up, we have components. So the components are what everything's made out of. So not the look of these, but the actual material that everything is made out of.
So, as I mentioned in the storage, there's 2 types of components pretty much.
Nope.
The map tiles, which are all square, which a bunch of other square tiles, and then the actual deluxe species, flora, and fauna. For the map tiles, they are a little flimsy, which is annoying because you do have to shuffle these. You are laying them on top of each other, and they're getting dinged around. And these corners will ding very easily. Mm-hmm. For the deluxe components, great. Nick made the comment about the glue. Sometimes shit happens.
It's glue.
Yeah, sometimes shit happens. They look cool. They're nice and sturdy. They stand up. They're fun to look at.
Yep.
All of these cards are the same material as those. And then they just give you a little wooden dry erase board.
Oh, it's just laminate. It's just like plastic covered cardboard.
Yeah, with a dry erase marker.
Works great though.
Yeah, does its job. So my big gripe is the map cards because they're not that matte finish. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give this a 3.5.
Okay.
Since that is literally 50% or more of the component of this game.
Yeah. So I have to say the deluxe animals, despite my one thing I say where the base came off, I put it back on, it hasn't come off since. So it was like just a kind of a fluke, most likely due to how things were stored in the box that first time. But I like that these, like all the bases are different sizes based on the characters. Like this guy's base is smaller than this guy's base. Yeah. You know, it all makes sense. The bases are the specific shapes of the character shape that you take on. So if you can see at the top of this here, these are the different character shapes that you take on. So it's easy to tell which species are yours because you're putting down the same species onto these cards. So that was a great component design there. And these are made out of wood, which is very sturdy, very nice. The cards, I have to agree. So there's other games where this kind of card is fine, right? If it's a simple map builder where you're not really having to shuffle the cards out, you're just kind of laying them out randomly, that's fine. They sit there, they're good. But because you're shuffling this entire thing multiple times, these things are going to wear out eventually. There's a nice like finish on top of these, but the edges are going to get dinged. So anytime you have a heavy shuffle sort of card, definitely I look for that matte finish that's going to make sure that they stay sturdy, they stay straight, and they don't ding on the corners. And this isn't
like, this would be a good one for sleeves.
Right, and I was gonna say this one doesn't have like there's no sleeves for this card, but also like it'd be annoying to have sleeves in a way for a card this size.
It would be annoying, but I was like it would work. But
yeah, so I'm gonna have to give it. I'll probably agree with the 3.5. These bring it up a little bit for me.
Yeah.
These are way better than the original things that came in. Those original ones were just punch outs. They're kind of boring, honestly, but. 3.5.
All right, next up, we have design. So that's the look of all these cards, the look of the fauna, flora, creatures here, and anything else art-wise.
Alrighty. Design. So, I'll start off with the things that I like. I like the design of the creatures. I like that they are illustrative. They look like they are, well, they are. They're hand-drawn. They didn't try to go hyper-realistic, but they didn't get super cartoony to where it was just weird. It's a good mixture between the two. And you can tell someone has some great design and knowledge for combining these animals. Some good creature design. So very creative there.
They might have worked at Jurassic World.
They might have.
Some shit. The Indoraptor comes next.
Watch out. I think that the quick explanation visually of how each of these animals work from side to side is great. It's very clear, to the point, easy to understand. So you have these out, easy to reference from afar even, understand, okay, that's what it's doing again. Wonderful. The back of the map cards, I like that it has this fun island illustration. They didn't have to have really anything on the back of these map cards. They took the time to make an island illustration and have it there. And then on the actual map cards, nothing overly special. It's a quadrant that has 4 different types. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Yep, 4 different types of terrain. So you have your grass, your water, your mountains,
counting
and
what
your
a quadrant
sand.
was. There's 4 corners.
No. What I love about this is that it's, at a first glance, it's like, okay, it's a repeating image, but it's not. These two are the same, yes, but this is also water, and it's different. You have this tree, which is probably different than some other trees in there. Yep, than this one. Right here, they are different designs. The water here, again, different water designs. While we were playing, I actually got a card where the water had like a sea octopus thing coming out of it. I was like, oh, cool. That's like a little sea monster. Yeah. And so those little like things are fun to discover. Like, here's a good example of that fun little deal. Here, very plain, just kind of, all right, these are mountains. You get this one, like, oh shit, there's a monster in these mountains. Like, it's a fun little thing to discover. The shells. Then we have over here, very easy to use, the scoreboard. So everything is very easy to see. So now, what I don't like.
Dun, dun, dun.
Nothing. I give it a 5. I love the design.
All right. So design for me, I agree with these cards. Super fun to look at. They're all a little bit different in each of the, and as Nick mentioned, each of the water, each of the sand, etc. The 4 different terrain types all have these fun little flavors to it. So someone went above and beyond to be like, hey, we're not going to just copy and paste an image. We're going to make like 8 or 10 of the same generic image, but tweak it a little bit, or add a creature, move the clouds around. So thumbs up for that. That's great. To your point, the monsters, super fun and creative. They made 2 go together. So like here, owl loose. So an owl and a moose combined. So it's an owl with moose ears. Awesome. And
antlers, not ears.
Moose antlers, thank you. And the picture looks pretty good. Even the back of the map, the one thing Nick didn't directly call out, and I'll call it out, is so the 4 types of quadrants are literally what the map is.
Oh, yeah.
So you have mountains, the grass, green area, shoreline, and water.
Yep.
So the 4 things in that picture as a whole are divided into the pieces of the terrain types.
Of the terror.
There is some terror. So absolutely love all of that artwork. I get a 5.
All right. Okay. And last but not least, gameplay.
All right.
Okay.
So gameplay. So as we briefly mentioned at the beginning, your goal is to make a map. So you're trying to do what you can to make a map of different terrain types going together, placing your creatures down and flora and fauna on them to gain points based on what the scoring is on that card. So the best parts of this, owl loose, side A, side B, both different. So you get that variety in it. You're not playing the same thing. You also, because we have the expansion, are not using all of these every time. 2 of these will actually come out of play. So you have a ton of variety every time you play using different sides. We played 3 times on stream and we used a bunch of different sides. We had a bunch of variety of what we were trying to figure out and work on. Same thing with the flora. There's 3 different cards here, both with 2 different sides. So I absolutely love that. I love the comboing, the trying to get things to work together or screw your opponent by just, hey, I have a thing of 5 here. I'm just going to lay this down, and now you have a thing of 1. So I love how they added that you can put tiles on top of other tiles, but you have to protect the species. You can't just run them off, throw them into Noah's Ark. So gameplay was a lot of fun. I love the variety and the options that you have available. I love the strategy of a head-to-head, but with probably a 3 to 4 players, this plays up to 5, would also be a lot of fun as you're making this ginormous map and have characters everywhere.
Yeah.
For things I didn't like, I don't know if there's anything, to be honest. I did have to check back in the rulebook a few times. Again, that was mostly my misunderstanding of what I was reading. So that put that on me, not on them.
Bode's illiterate.
And the other thing for gameplay, I'll call it out for this, is they gave perfect examples on all these cards exactly how scoring worked.
Yep.
So as you're playing the game, you can just glance down at what's on there and be like, oh, okay, I see how that's doing. You can kind of plan ahead, which is right up my alley. So I think I'm going to give this gameplay a 5 as well.
All right.
Will he agree or will he not agree?
I believe those are right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I agree. So full on 5. There was no issues I had with this. I wanted to keep playing.
Like, out of all the 4 of them, this one I could have cooked through more and more.
Yeah. Like, it's just the variety of having these, having to decide where to put it. I like the fact that you can stack them on top was a big plus, because a lot of games don't do that.
Yeah.
As okay, you can stack them on top, but only 2. And in the end, if you watch our playthrough, our last one, it was so much fun to watch you build your mountain, and then like, you know what? I'm gonna take a piece of that.
Yeah.
You know, and then you came around and like, you know what? I'm gonna take a piece of that back.
Yeah.
You know, and then there was always like afterwards, like, oh, there's I messed up that one move that could have won it for me. You know, there's a game where like I won by 1 point, and then there was one where you could have won that same one. You could have won by 1 point.
I could have did one thing differently and won by 1 instead of losing by 1.
So it's super easy to learn, super easy to play, but it's so deep in how you place things down and where you place your species and the variety. Like, yeah, sure, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the flora species, but you're using 5 of these and one of those. So the combinations that you could have, and then the fact that there's different sides. So each side means that they work differently. So really there's double that amount for all the fauna, and my lord, a lot more for the flora. So it's just the replayability is endless for so small when it comes like to the components. It's so great. So definitely a 5 for me.
Nice.
Okay.
So now we'll go through. Yeah.
Okay.
Now we'll go through each category. Tell you what our combined Bald and Board Game score is. Tell you our individual rankings with the average of all 5, and then if this is a Bald and Board Games must or don't play.
Threw me off. I had that listed as.
I don't know what you did. Oh.
All right. So, would you like to start?
Sure. So first off with storage. So the box right here. Boom. Did everything fit? Did it not? Ball gave this a 4.5. I gave this a 5. His one gripe was how the deluxe components fit on top. I thought it was perfect. But it holds at a 4.5.
So it does. All right. Rulebook. I give it a 5. Board give it a 5. The rulebook, the player rates, they're clear, to the point, easy to understand. Didn't have to go back and really look at that much, except for a few things. Like you said, he was kind of misreading something awkwardly. That was a him thing, not a rulebook thing. And that often it's a rulebook thing. Often it's worded in a weird way. It's a rulebook thing. So this is one time that it wasn't. So absolutely a 5.
Yeah, components. Ball gave this 3.5. I gave this a 3.5. So it's a 3.5 for our combined score. Again, the big thing is you have 2 simple sets of components. You have a bunch of square cards that you need to shuffle. Make it the better card finish so that they're not getting ding corners, ding sides as you're shuffling and playing on top of each other.
Especially a game like this where you're going to want to keep playing over and over again multiple times in one session, and it's going to wear out very, very quickly. All right, so next up is design. So the look of everything, artwork, iconography, all of that. I give it a 5. Board give it a 5. So our combined total is a 5. It is so much fun to look at, even though you're seeing the same colors visually over and over again. It works perfectly for the type of game it is. The design of the creatures are super fun. The little character looks are super fun as well. The species, it's just so much fun to look at, which goes a long way if you're going to be playing it over and over again.
Yeah, definitely. And then our final category is gameplay. Bald gave this a 5. I also gave this a 5. It gets that perfect rating of 5 out of 5. As we talked about, there's so much variety here in how the fauna and flora get shuffled out, side A, side B, and impact the game. You have a bunch of fun ways to build these map tiles out. You can rotate them. You can put them on top of each other. So it makes it a lot of fun for your strategy to build yourself out. But also you see your opponent building something out. You're like, hey, I'm not going to allow you to do that, and block them. So very fun. As we've mentioned multiple times, we would play this over and over again.
Yep. All right. So that brings us to our final scores. So my final score, averaging all of those different categories, is a 4.5. Board's final score, averaging all of the categories for his scores, is also a 4.5. So that means Bald and Board Games gives Oddland by All Play a 4.5, which means
it is a Bald and Board Games certified must play.
Yes, absolutely.
So definitely check out All Play's website. There's like 20 of these. If you're looking for one that it's you and your kids or you and some friends, this is a great one to choose to get on the table.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, easy to learn. Can play it in about 20, 30, 40 minutes, depending on how many players you have. So easy just to toss on the table on a weekday night and have fun with.
Kids will love it. Kids will love the animals and how weird they are and goofy and stuff like that. But again, adults too. I mean, we're kind of adults.
Yeah.
You know, what's 30s adults considered now? Or is that considered kids now?
I'm going to be considered elders now.
Because I guess elders. God damn.
World War III's about to start. We might be dying at 30.
Oh my God, 30. World War III at 33. But yeah, definitely a pickup. Loved Oddland by All Play. It fully deserves its score. All right. So we have other reviews for the 4 most recent All Play games that came out. Vegas Strip, Ruins, Money. Those ones will be going up shortly after this one has gone up on YouTube. So stay tuned for those. Check in and then check out our other reviews as well if you like our style. If there's anything that you want us to review that we haven't done yet that maybe you see behind us, let us know. Comment below and let us know what you want us to review. If there's any games that you want to see us play, maybe they haven't played yet and then offer a review for, let us know as well. We are willing to snag stuff. And
yeah, if you're wondering what's coming next on our channel, follow our Instagram. We post there every week what we're going to be streaming that Thursday and Saturday on Twitch. 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursdays, about 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturdays. We have a bunch of fun themes coming. We have a bunch of Kickstarters and GameFound games coming through the rest of this year that we'll be unboxing here on YouTube and doing rulebooks for, and then live playing on Twitch, and then posting here afterwards.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at Bald and Board Games for our review of Oddland by All Play. I'm Bald.
I'm Board.
We'll see you in the Oddland.